Welcome to the College Investor Audio Show, where we talk about the biggest issues impacting millennial money, from student loan debt to side hustles to building wealth. We will show you how to get out of debt so that you can build real wealth for the future.
Can you invest if you're on minimum wage? Well, let's talk about it today on the College Investor Audio Show. Welcome. We're so glad you're a part of this. Okay, so I want to help college students and young adults get started investing. It's the biggest reason why I started this whole site in the first place and wrote the College Student's Guide to Investing. But I was recently asked a great question by a local college student. Can you start investing if you make only minimum wage? You see, a lot of college students and young adults make a minimum wage while they're in school, or at least something close to minimum wage. Many work jobs in retail, restaurants, or other part-time gigs while going to school. So, given the amount that individuals on minimum wage bring home, can they actually get started investing? Finding money to invest on minimum wage. Let's assume you're a college student making $8 an hour and you work 24 hours a week. That would give you about $650 a month to live off of after taxes. If you're renting a room, you're probably going to pay about $300 a month, including utilities. You're probably going to have a cell phone, which will run you another $50. Then you're going to need to eat. Another $200. That puts you at about $550 a month. If you need transportation, you're going to pay another $50 for gas or maybe public transportation. But if you live on campus or near campus, you might not need this, which is good. Either way, you will have about $50 to $100 left over each month that you can save and invest. However, another way to find money to save or invest is through gifts. A lot of college students just receive cash gifts from parents and grandparents for their birthday and Christmas. This little extra bonus can also be a great way to invest. However, you could be cutting it really close and not have any extra in your budget each month to save or invest if you're really cutting it close, having trouble finding that extra money. You could also consider working more during breaks like spring break, summer break, winter break. If you work in retail or in a restaurant, a lot of these types of businesses are increasing their hours during those more peak times, especially during the holidays. If you work for 35 hours a week at $8, that suddenly boosts your monthly income up to $950 a month after taxes. That's an extra $300 a month. Another thing to consider is cutting back on expenses. So during these times of the year, moving back home with your parents can be a great way to save on rent. So not only can you increase your income, you can also lower your expenses. So here's how to get started investing on minimum wage. Once you've saved up, have an emergency fund, and are determined to get started investing, there are some really easy ways to get going. First, I'd highly recommend you see if your employer offers a 401k plan. Many huge retail companies do offer them, even to part-timers. Also, if you work at some universities, even at the bookstore, you might be able to invest in a 403b from the university. The great thing about these plans is that the company sponsors typically offer a matching contribution. So even if you only invest 5% of your pay, you get a matching bonus from your employer. Think about this. If you're making $8 an hour and only working 24 hours a week, first scenario that we talked about earlier, you'll take home about $650. However, if you contribute 5% to your 401k, you'll invest about $38 a month into the account. Since the money is pre-tax, you save some on taxes. You'll actually only lower your take-home pay amount to about $635. Plus, if your employer matches the contribution, you can actually get an additional $38 added to the account for a total of $76 a month or $912 per year. Not too shabby for just getting started, if you ask me. Investing on minimum wage isn't for everyone, though. The story that we just talked about comes straight from a college reader who questioned whether it could be done. However, if you're supporting a family on minimum wage, that's going to be a lot more difficult to get started investing. I'd point you to your employer once again. 401k plans are a great way to save for retirement and hopefully get a matching contribution from your employer. Even if you're on minimum wage, not taking advantage of an employer match is essentially leaving money on the table. You may not think you can do it, but I think most people can budget at least that amount. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I hope it was helpful as we tackle an important question and kind of a difficult one to navigate too. But anyway, you can find a ton of resources, links, and a whole bunch of stuff, tips and tricks on how to budget too, at thecollegeinvestor.com. Just search the words invest minimum wage and you'll find this article. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you again real soon.